9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey. Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week one. And then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly. And I mean, I try not to make these so definitive takes. Things can change very, very quickly, or maybe they have and we just haven't seen it yet.
The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
It is Tuesday, September 12th. This is the EST Hangout. We've promised a couple guests. They're on their way. Moddejonge, Tom Gazzola with you as always. You may remember these two from what you were just watching on Edmonton Sports Talk, which was the Nielsen Show. Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric, as we wait for Gerry Moddejonge of Postmedia, who's supposed to be here for 9 o'clock, and Gene Principe of Sportsnet, who's supposed to be here for 9:30. So he's got time.
Yeah, Gino,
Gerry.
You're waiting for Gino, right?
Yeah.
You wait for Gino. Gino can come when Gino could roll in at 10:45. We'd be like, "Thanks for showing up."
Take a dose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little pinch.
Yeah, exactly.
Big G, if you're listening, you're on the clock.
Well, Gino's a massive deal. Like even Gerry would understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw shade at Moddejonge.
No. No, it's all good.
I hope not. I know what those two guys will have seen.
You know, it'd be great if Gerry walked in and you guys just had a giant fight because you guys are both huge human beings.
Here.
In the middle.
here.
Let's go.
Gerry, I'll wrestle you on this table right now.
There's some issues between the two of them that I know of.
What do you mean?
Really?
What are you talking about?
Well, you didn't have your name right in the article, and then you didn't have his name in our launch.
Well, but I did that as a joke. Just called him Gerry M. We were joking. Yeah, so in the original article that he wrote about us, he had Nielsen spelled Nielsen, which is totally fine because
Some people do.
they did it on the TSN broadcast like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Maddie texted me, he goes, "Hey man, your name's wrong on the TSN broadcast." I was like, "Oh, I'm not even paying attention. I didn't know that." But no, there's no beef. But now, my wife, she goes, "I want to share the article on Facebook, but her name's spelled wrong. I don't want to do that." And so I texted Gerry. I said, "Hey man," I said, "I don't care about it, but." Do you mind fixing it up? And he's like, "Oh, oh shit, like. I feel bad. I
Didn't
didn't
you
want.
lay it
But
down
they
next to
basically
it?
said,
You can
"Oh,
swear.
sorry,
Be
man.
honest,
Like we'll mix it up and get it back correct." So, but there's no beef. I love Moddejonge, man.
Same.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best dudes.
No, he's great.
So you need to learn from Yukon Jack. Everything is wrestling. You're supposed to play the part there.
Oh,
you're supposed
like
to
really lean
like
into
build
the
this
heel.
up. How
Yeah.
like the two of you need to meet, and there's going to be
people
this
are like,
big
when
fight.
Moddejonge walks through that door,
Table match. Like right through the table.
That's the thing. Like you got to learn how to play the show a little bit right now.
Yeah, sorry, that's not my role. I don't.
Oh, I just love this guy. I love
I
everyone.
do. I love everybody, man.
Yeah,
Well,
you
I
do.
don't love everybody, but I love a lot of people. So,
But G more than Gerry.
I'm not
It's
ranking how much
different.
I love these guys.
Just for the record,
it's different. I mean, I'd love both of them a little bit more if they were here right now, so I could do other stuff.
So you don't like
But
them.
that's okay.
So you are mad at them.
Get the truth
No,
out.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not mad at anybody.
Except me because I didn't watch the Goonies.
That
That was
well,
that made you mad.
I'm not mad at you
No,
guys.
disappointed.
I'm
It's
extremely
disappointing.
disappointed.
Why?
But I'm mostly disappointed because you let me walk around here last week playing that clip like it's the funniest thing of all time.
It was funny.
Neither-
It's a
but
funny
neither of you
clip.
had- I know, but you would think it's funnier if you had watched the movie.
We were all in on the
How?
joke.
Yeah.
Right?
The clip is funny.
I don't know.
You
I
can
feel
hear it
like
like
You've seen them.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's good.
I
thought it
don't
was
think
great.
you need context for the
I
movie
laughed.
to enjoy that clip.
You don't think
I can
so?
only speak from the
I don't know,
perspective
I would-
of not seeing it, but I found it funny.
I would find things funnier, I think, if I had watched the movie. Like if somebody's telling me a clip from like what's that? Say hello to my little friend, wherever that's from.
Scarface.
Yeah, see, I've never seen
That's
Scarface, but I
Like,
yeah, but I feel like that would hit harder for me if I had seen Scarface. So I think it would hit harder for you guys if you'd seen Goonies.
just
and it's even with that new shirt I ordered. I thought you guys would be like, "Oh, great shirt," but now it's just another weird sloth shirt that you guys don't care about because you haven't seen the movie.
you
I look
haven't
forward
seen
to seeing
Scarface. Though.
No, I haven't seen Scarface.
Good Godfather.
No, I haven't seen.
Can I have a
Godfather.
late
Godfather.
confession?
You haven't seen Scarface?
I have not seen Godfather 1, 2, 3,
My
or
dad
as
recently
Strutty
watched
says,
My
4.
dad told me like a couple of weeks ago they hadn't seen Godfather ever, and like he's big Casino, Goodfellas guy, and
Yeah, I love
I was
Goodfellas
stunned
and
by this.
Casino.
I'm like, hey, no, we're like one day sitting down watching Godfather's.
I also haven't seen Casino.
Casino is amazing.
Okay,
Like I would heavily
will-
invest time in Casino.
Over Goonies. If you haven't seen either of them right now,
I would
like,
take Casino.
I will watch the Goonies with you guys if you guys watch Godfather with me.
I don't know if I can make that commitment.
Just one though.
How
right?
long
Just
is
one.
Godfather?
That's
How
all
long
you
is
need. That's all
I'm
you
not
need.
saying two.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
How
saying
long
two.
is it?
About 3 hours.
See that you can watch Goonies twice.
Casual 3 hours.
Why would you not rather want to watch Goonies twice?
Because Godfather is like the greatest movie of all time. Not Goonies.
Just give me Casino.
like the greatest. Casino or Goodfellas.
Not on AMC.
They're both the same.
Either one, but not on AMC. I need the fully unrated version.
Which one of you?
I like Trevor on the YouTube chat says, "Who's running the show if you're all here?"
I got the
Jerry
mouse
is
right
Who's got
here.
the most- Oh, it's Jerry
Got the
here
mouse
now.
right here. Jerry's here.
Good.
Who's jumping out?
I'm out.
Dustin.
I'm
Yeah,
out.
get out of here.
I
Are
can't
you guys
sit
gonna
around
fight
with this
first,
Goonie
or-
guy.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I might hug him.
Jerry, you missed Dustin
I'm
just
not gonna
calling
fight
you
him.
out.
I didn't
he
call
doesn't
him
like
This
out.
whole time,
I didn't
Dusty
call
was
him
just
out.
saying
Yeah,
things
I'm
about
sorry.
you.
He's stepping up. Get out of
How
here.
you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Look at
See,
that.
we're hugging.
Oh, they're
hugging.
hugging.
I love
They're
it.
hugging.
Get in here, Big G.
boy.
There he
Have
is.
you seen The Goonies at all? And now with the mic, it's got to be really close.
He's out of here again.
Are you kidding?
Is
I grew
that
up in the 80s.
okay? Mic really close to the mouth. That's just the one tip. So you're big into that movie.
Well, I certainly was when I was 10.
Thank you. That's a good. How many
That's all
times
we
you've
know.
seen it? Lots of times. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
see it on TV now.
It's
I'm
classic.
stopping it. I'm watching it like every time. You can't get enough.
Can't get enough of it. Nostalgic to me.
Yeah. Well, that's drums up the emotions and the memories. Eh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I remember playing the old arcade game at Bullwinkle's in Calgary one
Oh,
Bullwinkles.
Bullwinkles.
Hey.
Bullwinkles at Fort Road in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Park Source now, I think it is.
That's right.
I miss Bullwinkles.
It was good. Chuck E. Cheese just wasn't
It's not the same.
No. Bad
It's
pizza.
not the same. John Oliver did a great thing on Chuck E. Cheese. Actually, like the whole history of Chuck E. Cheese from like a couple of years ago was fantastic. I got on the John Oliver like wormhole on YouTube about
He's good.
a few months ago.
He's good.
Oh, he's good. Shows are great.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Big G.
Huh.
The last time you were here, this looked nothing like this.
No.
What do you think?
Where am I?
Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
Yeah, you guys have been busy.
It's been fun.
All that soundproofing, right, Tom?
Oh,
Yeah, give it.
shake and bake.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make it sound better?
Very. It's night and day, I think. Eh?
Wow.
I think so.
Maddie, right?
looks
This is the
good.
tests.
Got the
We
TV
didn't
lighting.
do a before and after.
No, we didn't.
Like, not even, like, picture-wise, we have some pictures, but we didn't do it before, after
we missed
audio.
that.
To be like, this is what it sounded like before, this is what it sounded like after, to see if this actually worked.
Let's tear it down.
Start fresh. Yeah, why not? We got the afternoon.
Tommy, what do you think?
I'm not ready for that kind of emotional pain.
We'll take down, except it does look good.
It looks.
People can't see it, but the design looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you been?
I've been okay. I think you guys should pull in a karaoke machine here one night. And
We
just
could.
let it buck. Yeah.
We could.
After hours here is going to be the place. That'll be the eventually when we.
I don't think we could live stream something like that.
Who said anything about live stream?
Well, I was gonna say like that would be a fun little thing for people to watch, but
Twitter live.
Everything sports talk after hours.
Behind the scenes.
Licensed, unlicensed.
EST Noir. Look out.
Oops, my phone just dinged. Is there like a swear jar or something you have to pay into?
no, just a swear, like an actual swear jar. We should start. JMO's at 3 swears.
He is. I'm at 2. I
Dustin
think.
dropped.
Dusty just dropped 1. I think that's where we're at. JMO 3 in the first day.
Well, let's get a whiteboard in here and start keeping track.
I think we're gonna
can
have
do
to. Yeah, it was incredible that JMO was the first one to it, and he did it 3 times in that first day.
JMO didn't care.
He's the legend of
was out on a
broadcasting.
mission,
He knows what he's doing, but then the moment you say you're unfiltered, he's dropping the S-bomb and stuff.
He's just unhinged, hey?
They Oakland A's cap on him and he's ready to go.
Oh, that's my favorite JMO, right there.
Well, that's just it. You put the cap on and he turns a little salty.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like in the movie. What was it? Sylvester Stallone. Over the top.
Over the.
Turn the head around. Become a machine.
It's like he's in the Coliseum. Like he transports right down to Oakland and he's there watching a game.
Yeah. The Coliseum will do that to a guy.
Well, yeah,
It's a rough
right?
stadium.
Yeah.
Ready to tear down that stadium
Channels that
brick by
energy.
brick.
Yeah.
All on their own.
Yeah, it's a scary place, man.
Dave is an A's. Like it works. For him being an
1971.
A's fan.
He bleeds. Yeah, I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
Bleeds green, Kelly green, and gold or whatever it is here or whatever.
Is that the
I don't know. Shade forest
Pantheons
green?
or whatever?
The Pantheons.
Pantones.
The Pantones.
Pantones, man. 218-9999. That's the text line if you want to get in on this. Vancouver Dave wants to know, you brought up Godfather, so now I have to ask, who has seen Barbie? That's a big no for Tom.
I will at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
Theater or DVD or
Well, I think we're
Like
past it now.
theater
Yeah.
would be good. Yeah, theater would be good in that. Last one I went to was Mario 3D.
And-
Fantastic.
Me too.
Yeah. 3D is the way to go for that one.
yeah.
They did a really good job of just bringing back the nostalgia of the movies.
Yeah.
Like that's all they like. It was like every couple of scenes, it was like the new introduction of something that brought you nostalgic. I'm like, yeah, like it's not a great movie plot wise at all.
There's nothing that happens.
But nostalgic wise, it was fantastic.
a little 3D action too never hurts. I mean, you kind of.
Yeah. Well, Jack Black just somehow climbed another ladder, another rung on my ladder, and just great. I mean, how do you top School of Rock? I guess.
Good film. Yeah.
Great movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could watch that movie all the time.
All the time.
School of Rock?
Oh, like that one could pop up on TV and I'll sit down and watch that.
Okay. Full-grown adult just walks in, his classroom full of kids, and he just says everything it takes to build these kids up. And hey, you want to do that? Let's do it. You're it.
It's true.
It's it's inspiring.
The van.
The
Right?
van.
The van. A moment for the van.
Like it's inspiring. I don't think I've ever heard that with School of Rock.
The reviewers.
It's inspiring.
Oh, you're looking at it from
Who cares about school? Who cares about all that? You know, I like that.
You're looking at it from the complete wrong. Wait, try being one of those kids who's like, oh man, like this would be really cool, but no, it's not time to think about what cool things to do in life. It's time to go sit here at a desk and just be
Sleep.
force fed whatever somebody wants to give me, right? No, this guy comes in, not even supposed to be there, completely illegal, and just, you know what? You want to be a lead singer? You're a lead singer.
Let's rock.
That's the magic of
Go
film.
play with some pyro over there.
Yeah.
Completely illegal.
Classic.
Were you gonna say something?
No text coming in. 780-218-9999. Where do you want this conversation to go? We're off to a ripping start. Dusty is Dude Love, says one texter.
Oh, for the wrestling.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Says he's Dude Love.
What would you be,
thought
Gerry, if you
and-
could be?
Yeah. You and Dusty would
Doink.
get into a fight. Doink, the
Doink the
clown.
Clown.
Hey,
I love it.
did you see the documentary on Doink the Clown? The guy that played him? Oh, it's dark.
Like the behind the ring thing on
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
I don't think
bad.
there's a lot of like sunshine, bright, wrestling
one.
stories
Tough
at
industry.
all. Like at all. I think they're all dark.
He was a messed up dude.
Yep, I think you'd have to be.
Yeah.
I think that they sacrifice a lot to bring us that entertainment, man.
They
Those
do.
guys, that was.
Okay, I know we're on wrestling now, but I watched yesterday a video popped up on YouTube. It was Maven. Remember Maven?
Maven.
From like early 2000s. And he was like, how much did I make in the WWE? And then he's like, if you were just on salary, and he actually pulled out like, I'm pretty sure they were fake, but like stacks of cash he put on the table, and he's like, then you get taxes. I'm like, I don't want a tax lesson. Just tell me how much you make it for a pay-per-view. And I think he said his biggest pay-per-view was like 30 grand. In a year, he made 400,000, if I'm remembering the math correctly. But yeah, that's a weird world over there, but it's crazy too. I've been watching a lot of old matches, I have to admit.
That is a lot of miles to put on
Yeah.
for that kind of money. I don't know if that'd be worth it, man. You'd have to love that lifestyle.
Yeah. Doink the Clown. Which wrestler would you be?
Who's the worst?
That's a
In
good
what
question.
way?
In like
That is a good question. Brooklyn Brawler.
The
I don't
Brooklyn
even know who
Brawler.
that is.
Yeah.
Just a
about-
jobber you'd never heard of.
What about Barry
that
Horowitz?
sounds probably perfect.
Very
for me.
Horowitz.
Remember Barry Horowitz?
Wow, yeah, like that.
And he would just
Oh, you know, who I'd be more like a Paul Heyman type person.
Oh,
Where I would
Jim
be
Cornette with a
I would
tennis
be the
racket?
guy that's always like chirping and stuff, but never has to do anything, and every so often just gets like slammed through a table because my mouth went too far. Like that is me, straight up.
Yeah,
I
Jimmy
would-
Hart, Or was that Mouth of the South or whatever? Yeah, that's the type of.
That's where I would be. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
always like standing behind others.
Yeah.
But speaking a big game and never being able to
Distracting
back
the
it up.
ref.
That is 100%
Love it.
me. Yeah.
Instigator.
And then
Yes,
behind
yes.
the scenes, like in the backstage area, you're just like the mastermind behind everything.
Trying.
Yeah.
But then again, every so often I'm still getting sent through a table.
The puppet master.
Every so often,
Yeah.
Keep you honest.
Every so often I'm getting kept honest and table go through it.
Who are you,
That's
Eric?
me.
Had to be something from ECW. I like, the Ravens flock. Hey, remember that? And then they transitioned to WCW. They went there, and he
Right.
brought over the flock or something
Rob
like that.
Van Dam.
The Sandman, though. Sandman. Anybody
Sandman.
smoking cigarettes? He'd smoke a pack of cigarettes to the ring, crush about 6 beer. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin, eat your heart out. This guy would smash the beer again.
Oh,
bleed all over.
yeah.
And he had the cane, the kendo stick or whatever. Really bad alcoholic genes and like some beat up runners, and just I think he was drunk for most matches.
Wow.
But extremely entertaining. Probably the Sandman.
I thought of you of more of like a Cactus Jack. Just in good spirits.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
I'm not. But you talk about putting your body miles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Mick Foley. I mean,
Top of the cage.
crying out
Who
loud.
doesn't see it?
it's,
Right.
it's insane.
Undertaker.
It's insane.
But he
Match
killed
of
him.
life.
And then you even go to like where was he wrestling in Japan, where he was like Cactus Jack and all that stuff with Terry Funk. They're going through like tables and tables and tables.
Here's the thing: how many great up and coming wrestlers would have come in and just never had a character or a gimmick like that? And here's Mick Foley with 3 that just everybody loved.
I
all
couldn't-
at once.
What could have been for some guys if they had an idea or something.
I couldn't figure that out. Like when I was younger, I'm like, hey, where's Mankind? And then all of a sudden, Dude Love shows up. I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Oh, wait, that looks like Mankind. And then Cactus Jack's. I'm like,
Why don't
what's,
they ever
what's
fight?
going on here?
Oh yeah.
I remember Blue Blazer was Owen Hart as
Yeah.
well, but at least he had a mask, and I kind of got that shtick. But when Mick Foley was the 3 characters, I was like, this is dumb. And I'm like, how does good old JR and Jerry the King Lawler not catch on to this? And obviously, being naive and dumb as a kid, I didn't
They
understand.
went dark with that, and I don't know if kids got it. Like multiple personality disorder, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of ahead of its time there, in a
yeah,
sense, the Raw's War age.
The other one I could
That
never
was a
figure out.
Raw's War.
Yeah.
Raw's War. You had
Excellent
Raw,
era.
and then you had Warzone, right? Like the
Yeah.
2-hour brick or whatever, and.
Yeah, and then they invaded Iraq, and all of a sudden war was not cool anymore.
You got to get out of that. Kept the pyrotechnics, but keep that out of the
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, not on the Titantron. I'm gonna admit I would always want to be Razor Ramon, but I'm probably more of a Disco Inferno.
Your disco
that's
and
okay.
you could be both. Speaking of the person, like
Right.
I could see
Do-
both.
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Depending on the night and the mood. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be. Yeah, I like that.
Disco Inferno goes in there, gets beat up, takes his money, and goes home.
Well,
Razor Ramon was just
the Razor Ramon
a
entrance
badass.
music was one of the best too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hell of an entrance.
Bad guy.
Somebody,
I could never flick a toothpick. Although my favorite toothpick flicker or gum spitter swatter, Mr. Perfect,
right.
threw a touchdown pass to himself in
the
the promo.
towel and the,
So
Cannot beat the guy.
so
right?
good.
The funny part was you start hearing people talk about stories like that, and it's like, man, he would do that stuff in 1 or 2 takes. Take people all day long. You see these kids on YouTube throwing court-long basketball shots. I don't know how many weeks it takes him to do that.
Even walking down to the ring and doing something simple like that. I mean, like that's all you got. And he's so calm and confident, right? And it's perfect. Perfect for Mr. Perfect.
Text comes in, says Tom would be Val Venus or Rick the Model Martel. I'll take that. Absolutely.
Was Val Venus at
he held Corey up in his arms there. It was a bald Val Venus, no hair at that point. Yeah,
that was weird.
It was extremely weird.
Just a shuffleboard tournament of Yukon Jacks, and all of a sudden Val Venus is there.
And getting into
Does he know him? Like actually Val Venus?
It was actually Val Venus.
But I think it was like a couple degrees of separate, like knows guy type of thing.
Okay.
But he was there. And he was having a great time.
Shuff parties were like the party to go to twice a year.
Shuffle
Slam, and the Ryer.
Yeah. And Shuffle Slam was your
that was
fun
wrestling
match.
meets shuffleboard where they would do matches. They had a cage match once. They actually brought cages up around a shuffleboard.
That was a front row seat.
And they did that, and they had stuff inside, and they were hitting each other. It was awesome. And then the Ryer's like the Briar meets shuffleboard.
Yes.
It's very prestigious.
Serious, yeah.
There's banners. I haven't had a Ryer in a long time.
But the Val Venus was a great character.
Another
he
text.
had a good character.
Go ahead. Freezer Bag text and says Raw's War and Warzone were separate so they could get ratings for 2 shows on the Nielsen ratings. Another one says... You'd be Doink, Tom. That's from Strummy. Bumblebee Tuna, Strummy. Big G took Doink.
Yep, sorry.
Too late. Tommy's definitely the Heartbreak Kid. That's from Jeffrey.
Wasn't there
I love
Dink and Doink,
HBK.
Phil? Didn't he have a
Dink the Clown.
Dink and Doink.
Yeah,
person,
and then the Bushwhackers had a little guy as well, and I remember he fought Dink the Clown, and again, one of those moments where you're like, this is amazing as a kid, but at the same time, I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
You knew it at the time.
2000s wrestling was the best.
It's
never going to be touched
Attitude
again.
Era.
Oh,
Attitude.
That's
all
it.
of that.
Guaranteed.
You can go to the purists and the whole like that was something that started and had its own, but the Attitude Era, that breaks through.
Must-see TV.
Yeah, and you had celebrities, sports, like it was across. Everybody was getting into that.
Where do you want to go on a date, babe? It's Monday night. We're going to be sitting in front of the TV. Don't you worry. We are. Well, I am. See ya.
Then they'd have the Monday Nitro replays the next day, Tuesday afternoon, because you didn't want to watch WCW because
you're watching Raw.
Yeah.
I actually really loved when WWE bought WCW and they did the whole year-long show.
That was awesome.
It was a great battle.
Like The Rock and Stone Cold against Hulk Hogan and
it's what you
Stone
always
Cold
dreamed
turned
of.
his
Scott Hall
back
and Kevin
on
Nash.
WWE or something. And Kurt Angle was the hero of WWE.
Oh, what a
All the
Don't
barriers
that
were broken.
Kurt
All the
Angle.
barriers were broken.
It was wild, but it was so much fun.
Okay.
I'm gonna tag out. Speaking on the
Whoa,
wrestling.
wait. We'll wrap up this segment. This is too good. We're hot
Fair enough,
right
fair
now.
enough.
This is great. Krager Texan says Dusty would be Gold Dust.
That was another great
Perfect fit.
character. Another great character.
Especially when he was tag teaming with Booker T and he just got electric shocked and all of a sudden had that nervous tick. Oh, man.
What a weird, and those promos that he cut too. I mean,
It was
some of the most disturbing. I know the Undertaker was scripted. That was disturbing stuff. Breathing and putting on the makeup, and the Silence of the Lambs stuff going on there.
I was like, what is
And I
Gold
think,
Dust?
did he have Deborah McMichael as an assistant at one point, or was that because she was with Jeff Jarrett? I know the puppies whole thing, but I think
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
because he had somebody as an assistant. but-
Wasn't he married to? Forgive me if I'm wrong. I haven't studied up.
Terry
in a long
Summers
time,
or
but-
something,
No,
or-
Reynolds.
Terry Reynolds, that's the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be it. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Levi from Devon asked, did you guys play the N64 WWF games? Yeah. Remember
WrestleMania
WCW?
2000.
Yeah.
But the best one was WCW
WCW.
and WO Revenge.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
for,
great.
for user play and all that, and you
Yeah.
could create your own.
They don't
Oh,
make
man.
them fun like that anymore.
they're too realistic.
They look
in a sense.
unbelievable.
I don't
like
need realistic
visually.
graphics.
Yeah, I
as
don't
long
like
as
that
it's
as
kind
much.
of.
I
I like that old look.
It's funny.
It's better.
They look funny running down to the ring.
Okay, but the old N64, you could plug 4 of those banana peel controllers in, man.
Yeah.
Everybody on the same couch.
Yeah.
Just all out
Rumble
war,
pack.
man.
Get
Put
the
in
Rumble pack
yeah,
on there.
for the full experience.
Yeah. Those were good times.
me
You
back.
do the Royal Rumble on the WCW.
We can
and
buy.
WO
I will go on
Revenge.
Marketplace, find an N64.
That's all we're
We'll
doing.
get it
We
going.
just
That's all
need
we're
to
missing.
borrow somebody's.
Well,
for a
what
while.
about this
buy
Tecmo
one.
Bowl we're getting, and we
It's
can
not
get
the
all
same.
those games?
It's not
Well,
But
because
I
it's
want
not. You're
as
not
you
going to
say,
get the controller,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can't have 4. Like on that, it's usually only 2.
Break
Yeah,
the
but Scout
joystick.
says
You know,
you can do it with a whole bunch.
Yeah, but you're all then standing by one screen. It's nice to sit on
Yeah,
a couch.
it's
Like right now, like while we're like we could actually just do the Hangout while playing a game.
Speaking of Tecmo
You know, in
Bowl,
theory.
Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson, documentaries have been made on
Yeah.
the guy's character.
Untouchable.
That's Trey Ford in Calgary last week. Zigzagging up
Yeah.
and down all around. I'm like, it's amazing.
That one play.
That
was like 100 and some total yards.
Then he got 33 for it.
Yeah.
Amazing though. Fun to watch.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
He's didn't start off great this past weekend for them, but turned it around. But when he gets going and he seizes the holes,
man,
I don't know how you fully stop him when he's still not developed yet.
No.
So when he gets where he needs to get to, oh boy.
Exactly.
Big G, I'm glad you brought that up because Coach Mike texted in and said, Elks have 5 games left. How does the rest of the season go? What positives can they take away from the rest of this season? Thank you, Coach Mike, for that text. And they've got some doozies coming up. BC's been a menace for them.
Oh, let's try scoring 1 point
That's
against them this time.
Aim low and achieve. Yeah.
But they're in the hunt.
Whoa, boy. Ooh.
Are they?
BC's dropped off.
Yeah.
So maybe they get those points.
Just even one. One would be
I'm going to go for 3.
But BC's not catching Winnipeg.
Not anymore.
Saskatchewan not catching BC. Like, you're kind of like... Edmonton's playing like this is playoff ball now for them. They got to win,
Oh, man.
Gotta win. I know it's a little stretch, but they get BC doesn't really have to do anything. They're not scared of any catching them really. That's kind of played out. And of course, if Ottawa would have been in Hamilton last week, that would have really opened things up. But
how are we even talking about this at this point after
that's
a team
that's the thing.
0-9.
It's amazing. But the Lions 0-6 that one year, going on to win the Cup. Yeah. It's the beauty of a 9-team league. And there are some warts around a 9-team league, but this is the one thing where you're not out by week 4 or 5 or whatever it is.
True.
It's also that there's just enough bad teams this year that it keeps the pack all nice close together right at that bottom that you could do the crossover still potentially and go get
benefit
there.
from your
They win 2 more, I think.
The Elks. So what
Riders, sorry, Eric.
They got Riders, they got the Owls, they got Winnipeg, they got Toronto.
They're gonna get destroyed.
Did I say Lions in there? Or did I miss the Lions? I don't think I said the Lions. So
the Lions are in there.
Saskatchewan's bad week this week, but they've played better the last few weeks with Jake Dolegala.
It was their scheduled loss.
That's not a team I'm looking at right now with the Elks. Like a few weeks ago, I was going, hey, that's a winnable game. Right now, I'm going, Saskatchewan's got to be the favorite going into that one. Montreal's winnable because they're coming out here.
Right.
Those other ones will be tough.
It has been a year. Wow. What is this, 14 seasons for me covering this team? I never, ever would have thought I would have seen anything close to this. You go back my whole time there, starting with Richie Hall.
Richie Hall.
Man, great human being, terrible head coach. But boy, has he cemented himself as a
DC. He's a DC through and through, yeah.
But man, you look at those guys' win-loss records by the time they were dismissed. Nothing close to what Chris Jones has been the last couple of years. What is he? I don't even know. He was 5-23.
4 wins last year.
Maybe, yeah, gross, just terrible. But I don't know. Riding it out with him, and just look at the young kids he's got in that secondary. If he's allowed to see his vision through, and who knows how long that's going to take, it would be something. But if not, we're going to see that team get dismantled, and for the next few years, we're going to look back and be like, wasn't that guy in the Elks roster at one point? Wasn't that guy? Yeah.
That's where this team's in an interesting spot because there's a lot of people that want Chris Jones to go and make the big changes. But if you do that, we're starting from scratch again in this city. You're redoing, and it's like, okay, well, do you want to wait 3 more years, or do you give Chris Jones the 1 more year shot to try to turn it around? This year they were supposed to be better. A lot of different things led to them not being better, but do you not just give him that shot to be like, okay, next year, let's get it going?
Well, if you don't, you're getting dangerously close to Edmonton Oilers head coach territory the past decade and some, where it's just...
It's the royal wave in and out.
Speaking of royal wave, how great was that walk-off field goal by this 36-year-old rookie?
You guys can have Gino now.
Oh, thank you.
You want to take him in?
Well, we got a royal wave to a commercial break.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Or do you want to finish what you were going to say about that?
Everybody saw that. It was great and a good moment. But let's hit this commercial.
Well, what we'll do is we'll come back after a quick break, and then Gene Principe will slide in for Lieutenant Eric. He's Gerry Moddejonge, Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk with here on the EST Hangout. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch, Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
And we're back here on the EST Hangout. Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you as always. We got Gerry Moddejonge from Postmedia and Gene Principe from Sportsnet sliding in.
Yeah, this
Gene,
is
welcome.
Well, yeah, this is quite. I've been listening and watching, and now to be here. Dusty gave me the tour of the new place, and yeah, congratulations. Media has come a long way from when I started. Back in the day, you'd have a little book, and you'd see news director, and you would get the address and send out your VHS tape looking for work. These were not options to sort of develop your own thing. And so congratulations. Wonderful start.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
that.
Paisan.
Yeah, it's fun doing your own thing a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see if we're enjoying this a couple of years from
Well.
now. I don't see why we wouldn't be,
Yeah.
but yeah, this has been good.
Well, I think your own thing is the key here, right? Back then, I'm not sure how you would start anything. You just worked for people. Gerry's younger than I am, but maybe has some of that history. That's how it worked. And now you guys have your station closed down, and you're like, okay, we're going to start our own thing. So I think that's bravo.
Gino, my first newsroom had a dark room in it.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. We were shooting film, actual film.
Yeah.
Wow.
And going in and
Did you actually do it?
actually have to do it, yeah.
Do you still remember how to do it?
No,
Kind of?
no, there's no way, man. I can't believe how far it's come so fast. But yeah,
we had to do that at NAIT. Well, I went to NAIT and graduated in '87, and we had to do photos, and we had like a dark room. And back then too, we also had to type a certain amount of words per minute. I think it was 35. I was afraid I was going to fail NAIT because I couldn't type 35 words a minute. And the old typewriter, and they really ingrained it in you as like, this is really important. You need to know how to type. And I didn't do much typing. I think back in my day, we just sort of wrote most of our assignments, or almost all. So getting to typing was like, wow, this is quite new. I hadn't worked in a newsroom or anything. So there was some pressure to learn how to type. I think I just got there.
Yeah.
I think I just got to 30 or 35. And luckily, here I am, 36 years later, broadcasting because of it.
Kids are doing 70 words a minute with their thumbs these days.
Well, yeah, that's true nowadays.
Not even looking.
No.
Yeah,
Just
you're
typing.
right.
No.
Nowadays, if I have to write anything more than 3 sentences, it looks like I'm in grade 4. Like it's yeah, you're just trying to. Yeah, it's really difficult to just, you're writing out a card to somebody. A wedding card, or whatever it is. It's
Cursive or print? Because I haven't done cursive in a long time.
I combo.
Yeah,
I would say.
hybrid.
I think it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
I don't think it's either, but it's both.
I love how the technology is going backwards. Nobody writes stuff out anymore.
Yeah.
No, we have these amazing devices. You can talk in real time and have a conversation back and forth with somebody. No, we prefer text. So what's going to be next? Morse code. You know what?
Right.
Speaking of emojis, everybody just fires emojis out there.
Yeah.
We're getting back to hieroglyphics, man. We're not chiseling them into a wall, but
It's amazing that I remember Steve Taylor, who worked for Oilers TV. I remember it was the 2009 trade deadline that he put me on Twitter. I think it was when they traded Steve Stais to the Flames. I think that was
First trade between the two teams.
Yeah, we were in Chicago, and this thing called Twitter, which is now not Twitter.
As Quinn says, Quinn Phillips, X.
Is that what she calls
She
it?
goes,
Yeah.
X.
Do people call? I guess you have to kind of.
Well, it's still
I don't
Twitter.com.
know.
It's
Right.
to me, as long as it still is Twitter.com,
Yeah.
it's Twitter.
Yeah. And I remember Steve put me on, and that was kind of the first time, and that's pushing 14 years ago. But nowadays, the social media is amazing. I always feel like it's neat to see friends, family, and people maybe you don't know but know of. They go on their holidays, and you feel like the Gazzolas are Eva and Larry.
I haven't seen them in months.
Yeah, like you watch and they're here. Oh, they went there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing this. I find it a great way to keep up with people that you might not have the time and to do it sort of like we used to do it, right?
man, this conversation just got deep.
Yeah.
Talk about an upgrade.
Wow.
Well, I remember you'd send somebody a postcard. Like, I don't know if people still.
Oh, I remember going on
that's
trips and we'd have to
right?
send postcards back to the family.
Yeah, you'd send a postcard. Oh,
And you'd
we're
hope
having
that
a
you'd
great
beat it
time.
home.
Yeah, we're having a great time. We went to see this museum.
Right.
Hope to see you soon. And you're right. You wish that you would beat the postcard home because you never knew how long it was going to take it. So the world's wonderful the way it is. It was simpler back then, but technology, and you guys are an example of it, has taken us to where we are today.
I love text over phone calls still, though, because I could have multiple conversations going at once.
Yeah.
I don't have to do one at a time. You don't need to do just one. You could have I could have three going. We could all talk about what's going on with the next day here while I'm talking to a bunch of other people.
Are you running another show as we speak?
Probably knowing this guy.
Matthew lives in the Inception world. Yeah.
Nice.
You can text us 780-218-9999. Text comes in. Gino, have you recovered from the marathon yet?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I ran the marathon. Thanks for asking. I ran the marathon August 20th. August 20, by the Thursday, I was okay. But that day, I was done. Like, I don't think I've ever been that... I don't know if maybe just simply exhausted. I crossed the line and that was it. I hobbled over to the seat. It took me some help to get up. My wife had parked about a block and a half away, which is not far. And I was honestly, and then walking up our driveway, it was like I was going up Mount Everest. I was just, I couldn't believe how I was just, to use a soccer term, I was just gutted. Like I had nothing left. But by Thursday it was it was okay. I was back to sort of whatever normal was before the marathon.
Good for you. Okay, Gino, what made you want to tackle this challenge?
You know what? I've always found, I don't know, I always found a marathon to be somewhat seductive. The idea of the program to train, and then you understand that you're going to be doing something for 4.5 hours. And I was a runner, like a soccer player, referee, 4 miles, 5 miles, that kind of stuff. Never that kind of distance. So I've always wanted to do it. In fact, my wife, who I've known now for 30 years, said, I remember when I first met you.
On this program, you go, my wife.
My wife.
That's right.
Who I met 30 years ago said, I remember when I first met you, you said you wanted to run a marathon. So I've always felt it was something, and I think we all, either we know someone who's run it or know someone who knows someone that's run it. So finally, I just said, okay, let's try. So I ran a half 2 summers ago, and then this summer I said, let's do it. I got a program off the internet, 18-week training program, and away we went. And you start, it's like 2, 3, 4 miles the first week, and you do that for 2 weeks, and then you start going to 4, 5, 6, and then you start getting into double digits, which is a bit intimidating. And then you just do it. And I signed up on the Tuesday before the marathon, and there we were, 7 a.m. at the convention center downtown, and away we went. And there's the last 4 or 5 miles was, oh my gosh, like I wanted to quit. I can't count how many times I wanted to quit. But your mind tells your body, keep going, you've come this far, and just finish it off. And luckily I was able to do it.
Hey,
Good for you.
Speaking of seductive, was this in preparation for your next cover shoot?
Yes. Yeah, I was joking with
Just
my daughter.
wondering.
Yeah, I was joking. I've had my shirt off probably too much in public in the last 14 to 16 months. I remember when Steve's
Yes.
big sports guy, and he called me and my wife and said, we want to do this article. My wife's city councilor, and sports and politics don't mix. And so I'm like, okay, sure. And then I thought the cover would be like her in like a, with a briefcase and a sort of a business suit, and me holding a tennis racket and a golf club or whatever, something like that. And they're like, hey, for those that are watching would remember the X-Files, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson did a cover with them in bed together.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I said I hadn't thought about that. So she was fine, and I was like, Sportsnet was good with it. And my kids, I have 3 kids, they're all in their 20s now. The 2 boys are like, whatever. But my daughter, she was pretty, she's like, people are bugging me, and why would you do that?
Oh,
And
no.
So I had my shirt off, and my wife was clothed, but under a cover. And so, yeah, and then I had my shirt off for the marathon. I take my shirt off virtually when it turns to May or April.
Let's go tarps off right now, boys.
Well, I'm not sure, yeah. Yeah, you might look good with tarps off, but so it was an enjoyable experience. I might try it again, to be honest with you.
Amazing.
It was something that I wanted to do, and I was able to check it off the list.
We got a text that came in from Stu, who wants to know, what is Gino's most memorable moment from the Decade of Darkness? Boys, chime in on this as well, because we've all had a few. Stu says there was a lot of losing in there, but I'm sure they still had some fun doing the broadcasts. We had a saying on the plane, win or lose, we still booze.
Yeah.
And I indulged in that quite a bit.
Yeah. We had, I will say this, and I've had a chance to cover Major League Baseball and basketball and some NFL. NHL is my beat. You cover the CFL, Gerry, and you've done various sports. You all have.
Jerry's going to be on the NHL beat right away here.
Are you doing the NHL?
Yeah.
On to pick your brain the rest of the show after you're done with the story, Gino.
Yeah.
You got to catch me up to speed.
Are you doing some Oilers stuff?
That's all I'm going to be doing.
Moving to the Oilers.
Yeah.
Oh, Oilers full time.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm happy to help. Oh, you'll be great. I mean, you're first of all, I think your size will give you some cred right away when you walk in there. You got us little media guys.
Yeah.
Just some mic reach power, right?
Well, no.
yeah.
Honestly, you walk in and everyone guys will be going, "Who's this guy?" Right. So that'll get you started. Oh,
Big G's got a
congratulations.
presence.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chance.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
hear
yeah.
the rest of the story, though, Gino.
What was the story?
About the Decade of Darkness.
Oh, Decade of
stories.
Darkness. We had a lot of fun. My point was this, and this isn't to discredit other sports because there's good people in all sports, but hockey players, CFL players, it's pretty hard to beat. They are, even in defeat, which there was a lot during the Decade of Darkness, I thought they were very, very respectful of us and understood that it was a difficult time for them and a difficult job for us. I'd have to think of, I remember running into, was Igor Ulyanov there? He would have been, no, Igor was early 2000s.
Yeah.
I remember running into him at a bar, and he actually had ice packs on. Not in his drink, but on him, because it was after a game. Igor was maybe the toughest guy. They were all good. I think one of the things as a dad, I became a dad in 99, so now you're into the 2010, 12, 14, 15, and so on. There were definitely times, Taylor Hall, I wanted to just give him a big hug. You could just see how disjointed and disappointed they were night after night after night.
Yeah.
But I thought they were great to deal with. I really
They actually
did.
were. Do you remember we were in LA one game and there was a monster like all-star cricket match?
Yes.
And this little
yeah.
guy comes up to us and we're waiting to talk to the players at the hotel for the availability. And he's like, "Oh, are you here for the hockey?" And or
Ice
the cricket.
hockey.
Yeah, you know this one, the ice hockey.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. And the guys, Derek Van Diest was there. He tells the story really well. And we asked this guy, "Are you here with the cricket crew?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I am." Hands behind his back, very unassuming guy. And he's an older looking guy, and he like says hello to all of us. And I'm like, "Okay, nice to meet you." And I walked away. I'm like, "This isn't going anywhere. This conversation, I got to go do something." I think I had to interview Anton Lander because he had just signed a contract.
Yeah.
And then you, who's always gracious with your time, kept talking to him, and so did DVD.
Yeah.
Turns out his name was Sachin Tendulkar, who's like one of the best or the best cricket player of all time. And he was just like, "Okay, see you guys later." Have a nice
I
day."
remember there was a lot of cricket players and followers and fans. At the hotel, and we were there, and it was just like I had no idea. I've seen a little.
But remember,
bit of
they were
cricket.
all like Gerry size,
Yes.
and like they had like cool haircuts, and you're like, "That what sport does that guy
Yeah, who
play?"
are these guys?
And they were all cricket players, and then this little guy in just like khaki pants behind his back, collared shirt. He's the best player of all time.
Yeah, I remember that.
How
story
much
that
would
time.
that guy love just being able to bum around all by himself in a hotel in LA and not be swarmed?
You know
right,
what?
this guy's got 30 million followers on social media.
Yeah. We
Just a
found out
god,
after
right?
who he was, and we were all kind of like, "Oh my gosh!" And nowadays you would have taken a
Not a
selfie with
selfie
him.
to be seen.
Yeah,
for the story,
exactly.
right?
We would have taken a selfie with him.
He probably
for
loved the
sure.
fact that he met you guys and you guys didn't even know who he was.
I walked away.
He's telling this story in India right now.
Yeah.
So they didn't even ask me for an autograph. It was amazing.
Yeah, we had no idea who he was.
Those
I do
clueless
remember that.
Canadians.
Yeah.
Them and their ice hockey.
Yeah, well, we've met. This past year was great when we met. Wayne Gretzky is unbelievably gracious, as you know. I know you're involved with Ty Gretzky and his hockey camps. Like they're the first family of sports. Like just a wonderful group of people. And it was really neat this past year when he brought DJ down and. I'm not a big golf guy. DJ and it wasn't Brooks. Oh gosh, Wolf. Dustin.
Matt Wolf.
Matt Wolf.
Matt Wolf. And there was another guy who's like a really big winner. Oh my gosh, I can't remember who he is. And he brought him down to the room, just outside the room, and he was just so friendly. And McDavid came out, and Zach Hyman came out, and Evander Kane, and it's great when you see this crossover and actually know who they are. I'm not big on golf, but that cricket was a prime example of us being in not a hockey bubble, but we know
North American
who we know.
bubble.
Yeah, North American bubble, right? We know who we know, and then you get out of that, and you just don't know who these guys are, even though they're probably better known internationally than a Connor McDavid,
Right.
or those kinds of athletes, right? They'd be better known than guys that we know and think these guys are huge, and they are, but they're not like somebody who plays cricket. So that was a funny story. I remember that.
Big G, any memories from the decade of darkness that stand out to you? Because you popped in every now and then, right, to fill in?
Oh man, I'll take you back to my very first time covering the Oilers. Okay, we had to go ask him. Is your name Linus or Linus? Because we heard both. This is Omar's cup of coffee here, but fantastic. I mean, the guy makes a splash, comes in here. I think the game he played that I was covering went to shootout, and he actually got called to get out there. Does this wild 360
right at
spinning
center.
slap shot, and That's
he was back then. It wasn't it Hope Hall,
Omar,
PRV,
and Everly.
Yeah.
And do you remember his answer to that question? I remember that.
He didn't even care. He's
like,
whatever.
I don't know, whatever.
He was
you want to
quite
call
the
me.
character. Yeah. Actually, I think he would be more appreciated now.
Right.
Because I think back then, it's not that long ago, but long enough ago that he might have been considered almost like not the hockey stereotype, bit aloof.
Right.
But I think nowadays he would be more appreciated.
A little bit of character on him, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And that's maybe my one knock against hockey. You know, the sport it'll never get bigger in this country.
Yeah.
But I think the problem in my mind as a journalist, sports journalist, is these kids are coming up and being taught how to non-answer everything and just not
trained
show
so well
anything
media-wise
coached from the beginning.
Them.
So and I think it loses a little bit of its color and character.
That's fair.
And you don't have that in the other leagues. They're not coached. Those answers aren't getting coached of a football player that's coming up or a basketball player that's coming up. They're prepared to bring that personality out.
Perfect example: Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin. One of them's just giving the pat answers, even though he might be better. The other one's back home in Russia, filming himself spinning donuts in Lamborghinis. Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, that was the epic. The epic celebration, right, that they put on in 2018, right, when they beat Vegas. I mean, it is amazing what sort of the growth of the game. But I look at McDavid, and he's a perfect example. And you guys have been around him, and you'll be around him. He really is evolved in that. I think when you come up, you don't want to say anything that anybody will turn into something more than it is. Like I remember when they were playing the World Baseball Classic, or was it? Is that right?
That was just this past year.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Geez, it seems like longer ago. And he was asked about that, and then he kind of spun it into, wow, wouldn't it be great if we did that in hockey? And it just blew up.
There you go.
And I remember him kind of saying, oh, thanks for asking me that question. And I don't know if Connor McDavid circa 2019-20 would have said that, but
no
now
chance.
He's more comfortable saying it, and that's great.
It seems to me from the outside looking in, he's almost more accepting of the idea of him being a spokesperson, not just for the team, but for the NHL.
Yeah.
He's going to get the big questions.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I always joke, I got kids that are a little bit younger, and you still make their lunch if they want it, right? And here's Connor McDavid, I wouldn't say running a league, but he's helping run the league. And so for sure, there's lots on him on what's happening and what should be happening. So I think he has evolved into a really engaging young man. You were there, Tom, at Commonwealth.
Cracking jokes before we even got the mics going.
He was joking about someone's style. He goes, "Oh, it looks like you went to a stylist or something, with your clothes."
That was to Spec, and then to Tony Brar, he's like, "Aren't you hot?"
Yeah, right.
Tony had the turtleneck suit,
which is so
bad combo. Sure, Tony looks good, but I hate the turtleneck suit look.
I for sure see the evolution of Connor. We see on the ice everybody, but off the ice. And one thing I really will say about him is that he is really good with kids. I think that he really understands what you said, Gerry, about who he is and what he is. And I see him with kids now, and he just looks so comfortable. And he understands that this moment that these kids have with him is I don't know if it's life altering, but it is a moment that these kids will never, ever, ever forget. And he makes it special for them. And I think that's part of the growth of a person that we would love to see at 18, but I'm not sure is natural. But you see it when you start to turn 25, 26, 27.
Last question, because I think we've got to go to a break right away. Hey?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay.
We can do whatever we want. We don't have to go to breaks.
I'm checking with Matty. He's running the show. I just check in, and I do the text line. That's how we do it here on the EST Hangout. Atif wants to know, Gino, besides Rogers Place, what is your favorite NHL arena that you have visited and city? And then if all of us chime in as well, that would be good.
Yeah, that's, they all have a certain allure to them. Columbus is a great arena. I know people might not go, wow, Columbus.
Sneaky good.
You know what I love about Minnesota XL? There, you could drive two 18-wheelers down their concourse. It is so wide, which I really like. Glendale, which we're not there anymore.
That was a really nice arena in the wrong spot.
Yeah, that's a nice arena.
Yeah.
I love, I'm a Sun guy, as some of you may know.
You and Jack Michaels are by the pool within 3 minutes of us getting to the hotel.
Hey, Jay, can you hurry up? Yeah. It's like we actually have our our shorts on underneath our suits. Oh, yeah, Jack and I.
Yeah, it's incredible.
We spent a lot of time at the pools. But I love Staples Center. That was kind of which is Crypto.com
Crypto.com.
I think that was kind of my first NHL arena that I went to outside of Edmonton that, like, I'd worked in Toronto. But I just thought, wow, this is so LA. It was just beautiful and still is. Still a wonderful arena. They all have something to be said, but those would be some of my top ones. I like Florida because there's palm trees around it. It's very relaxing.
But it's by a strip mall.
I know.
Everything's a 40-minute drive in that area.
Yeah,
it sucks.
You're right. You go off a highway, and then suddenly there's this arena. It's not sort of by the beach or something.
Not
like that.
at all.
The palm trees. I remember MacT in 06 in Anaheim. They got through San Jose. Previous to that, it was Detroit, and they're 3 rounds into a playoff chase in 06, and I remember him just looking around and goes, I don't know what it is. You come down here and you see the palm trees, and suddenly it just helps ease kind of your tension and the bumps and the bruises and all that. So those are some of my favorites anyways.
Big G from the rinks you've seen and covered in?
Or stadium.
There we go. I was going to ask if I could switch gears, gentlemen. I'm big on history, and I used to, before I started covering the CFL, I used to go on pilgrimages with some friends down to the NFL. And man, I tell you, nothing beats Lambeau for me. I went there in Favre's final season, and it was just a cool experience. It was in the middle of nowhere, just this little residential area crops up, and people who live there are like making a fortune allowing you to park on their lawn.
Is that right?
That's old school.
It's to do that Commonwealth.
Yeah,
There used to be allowed to park in that
that's
area
right. Yeah,
until the city stopped that.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's just and you don't. It's not like here where you show up and I mean, tailgating is getting kind of better, but it's not the same. I mean, you show up, sun's up, you're out there getting a spot, and everybody's got the barbecues going, and that's what football is. It's your whole day. It's not showing up, sitting there for 3 hours and going home.
Yeah.
Like,
did you wear the cheese?
I did not wear the cheese. I was I had a
cap
Packers toucan.
Oh, okay.
And
You Packers fan?
You know what? I will probably, since I was little, when I was coming up, it was Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. So I will always look at the 49ers differently. But it's tough not to pull for the Packers a little bit.
And when you get to those stadiums and you walk by the merch shop, you're like, well, I'm here.
Yeah, right.
And I want to feel a part of this. Like some of those buildings have that element to them or that characteristic where you're like I went to Pittsburgh, I bought a Steelers hat.
Yeah, we were there. That was a great experience.
Yeah.
We got us some tickets. Actually, that was when was that? 18? No,
17 or 18.
17
yeah,
18.
and I don't care about the Steelers, but I was there and you're like, this is cool. So
you
I
got to
bought
buy
a
yourself
hat.
a terrible towel or whatever.
Gave them away to buddies that are
chance
Steelers
for me.
fans. You?
I'm a Ravens fan. There's not a chance I'd buy a Steelers thing.
gosh,
Even if I was there,
I'm a
not a
Cardinals guy,
chance.
I went to Baltimore, the old stadium, when they had the CFL expansion.
Oh, the Stallions.
Amazing.
Yeah, what was that Memorial Stadium? I can't remember what it was called.
Pacific Stadium, Memorial Stadium.
Memorial isn't that? I think that was Philly.
But
Was
the
it? Yeah,
old
that
stadium
was
in
Veterans.
Baltimore.
Oh, the Veterans.
Yeah,
thank you.
Veterans. But the old stadium in Baltimore, we went on a little junket because they'd had the expansion into the U.S. And we went to Baltimore I was working in Winnipeg, and they had a diehard group of fans, and we flew down there, and that was neat to be in an NFL city with a CFL team, I guess. Yeah, it was quite the experience.
Their 750 win percentage will never be touched again.
Yeah,
in the
right,
CFL.
right.
Those 2 years were
Mike
crazy.
Pringle was
Right.
back. Don Matthews
Tracy
was
Ham.
Tom
there.
Matz was the coach.
Yeah.
When you don't have the Canadian import rule, like we're the
That's
Canadian
true.
ratio
Yeah,
rule,
they
it's
could not enforce that.
nice to
Yeah.
build a team of just Americans.
How
to
long
go
were?
to.
How long were? I'm trying to think. How long were they in?
That was,
Sacramento?
3 years?
2 years.
2 years. That's
seasons.
it.
And then-
Sacramento.
I think it was expansion was 3 years.
Was the
San
expansion?
I
Antonio.
think over maybe
San Antonio Street, right? Matt Dunnigan was down at Street.
Memphis.
Memphis.
Oh my gosh.
Birmingham Barracudas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Las Vegas Posse. Miami Manatees were announced but never played.
Yeah.
What was Sacramento? Was
The
it
Gold Miners. That's my team in CFL fantasy football.
David Archer, I think, was the.
Case Stevenson was the coach.
Yeah.
Stevenson.
They,
With Archer, I think.
What was
that 99.
Oh
Double
my
E
gosh.
season was a
That seems
train
like-
wreck. Or was that 2000?
Which one?
99 or 2000?
I
For
want to
2000.
say,
When David
right around-
Archer, Kay Stevenson came
Wasn't
in.
that?
J-Mo would know.
Yeah, J-Mo would have
Well, what
to tell
about
us.
Sexsmith? Right, he had the great
Oh,
line.
Johnny, yeah.
About Archer.
Yeah.
I think Archer got into a fight on the sidelines, right? I think, and that's the best right hand he's thrown all day or something.
Johnny's good.
Oh yeah,
Classic.
John. No, you can. It's funny because John was a public address announcer,
Right.
Like this isn't a guy just sitting in the front row voicing that. Imagine that being said to what was probably 40,000
Yeah.
people. Oh, God bless John. Yeah.
World used to be fun.
Yeah, you could get away with that kind of stuff, but not so much anymore.
Stadium, arena, Matty?
Well, the best that I've gone to, because I haven't gone to many, Rose Bowl. I went and saw. I saw the Rose Bowl at the Rose Bowl, like the actual Rose Bowl game, 2020, Wisconsin, Oregon. Like as you go to the Rose Bowl and you park, there's a golf course right next to it, and you park on the golf course on the
is that
holes.
right?
All across. They have
Wow.
it designed so that you park on it doesn't ruin the course. I don't know how they get it done. Everyone tailgates on this golf course.
Amazing.
They play like rope off the bunkers so you don't go in the bunkers, but everything else you're on the fairways and all of that. And then you go in the game and like for a stadium
That's an
it's like
experience.
100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Was
Like
it 104,000? What do they fit? Or 90? Like
it's
they're-
around, and then when we were there, I think it was just shy of 100 for when we were there.
Think of 100,000
And
people.
we were second deck, perfect sightline. Like you felt like you were still right next to the game. It was. I highly recommend going to see a game at the Rose Bowl.
Love it.
And then the history of that stadium.
Yeah,
Like, you
for
know,
sure.
everything that has come through that stadium, concerts, sporting events, just being there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
Well, I
sweet.
used to be a huge college football fan. One thing I loved when I was a kid is that basically it was New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That was
Yeah.
kind of and it would be back to back to back at night. The Orange Bowl and now everything first of all has a sponsor to it, which I understand, and they're so separated. But I used to love like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and they would just bang off all these major bowl games. And the Rose Bowl, I mean, I was a big fan. USC was kind of my college football team, so that was a big time. But that was, like 104,000 or 100,000 people. That would be a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and it's the whole show. You got the B-2 bomber flying over you, and
that's cool.
they put it on well. So that was a good one. And you?
MSG United Center and Bell Center for hockey. And then favorite stadium that I think I've gone to is probably Fenway Park.
Oh yeah, I've been to Fenway's like
That's
the
insane.
the what do you call it? The aisle was like obviously it was
Tiny.
built in what
1912. I think
1912.
that or was it Wrigley Field were open the week the Titanic sank?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I remember covering the 04 World Series and there was a lockout going on and my boss said, "Do you want to cover the World Series?" I'm like, "Sure." Right? And that was when the Yankees had it. Was it a 3-0
Yeah.
lead?
Yeah,
on the
I'm
Red
a Yankee
Sox?
fan, so that
Right?
hurts.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
Matt. Then the Red
Yeah.
Sox came back, and then they played the Cardinals. And I remember I felt like I'm not trying to stereotype, but kind of like an American guy covering hockey. They would have batting practice. There'd be no. They'd have numbers, but no names.
Right.
And I remember I don't remember the pitcher. It was a pitcher for the Red Sox, and I got him mixed up. So I pulled him. One media guy said, "Is that?" He looked at me like, "What an idiot you are!" No, that's
that's
so
not
on and
Kurt
so
Schilling.
forth.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, but like Larry Walker was there at the time, and that was a wonderful experience. Didn't want the lockout, but covering the World Series was a lot of fun for
It's a
the Red
shame
Sox.
Larry Walker didn't get that win. I would have loved to see him get a ring.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in '94 with the Expos. It would have been nice if it was in
Expos,
04.
man.
That was that was their first in what I can't remember.
The Red Sox?
was like
Yeah.
first in.
That ended the I think 86 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh my God.
for
It
them.
was
His Cubs
great.
went over 100.
And actually, we saw that night, and now I'm starting to remember. We saw Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon.
Pitch
before-
Perfect, or was
Yeah.
it
Fever Pitch. I will not,
Fever
because I'm a
Pitch.
Yankee fan and because of that comeback, I won't watch the
Yeah.
end of that movie.
Yeah.
Because they have the big comeback and I don't want to do that to
Wow.
myself. I always shut it off
Yeah,
beforehand.
and I remember.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time, though, so.
I remember vaguely. I think I went. I'm not sure I sat beside her, but I think they were in a booth, and I sort of sat in there again, pre-selfie days, and she was with Jimmy. And then I also remember we were in this bar after the sweep, and this guy bought drinks, and they brought in like about 30 pizzas. He bought the whole night for people because he was a Red Sox fan. He was so happy. They won it in St. Louis. And anyways, just stuff starts coming back into your brain about some, you know what, I speak of us, we unbelievable experiences that we get, that we have that are part of work.
Well, it's like I'll still go back to when COVID season, when no one was allowed in, and we got to sit there and watch Connor's 100th point in 53rd game. It was at the time. It's like, how many people want to be in that rink at that very moment?
Right.
There was like 60 of us.
That's in our individual loge seats.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, we're lucky. That was like one of those moments where you go, we're pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky.
That was weird.
I remember that. Yeah. Was it against Ottawa?
Vancouver, wasn't
Vancouver?
it?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I remember Stuart Skinner got that first win versus Ottawa.
Yes.
It was like
6-5
or something like that.
It was a high scoring.
But they were so silent. Then they had the music going or the crowd noises and anyways, we are. Bizarre. It's a luxury to have the positions that we do some work. In case you're wondering, but some of the experiences that come out of it are fantastic.
They should have brought in all the big screens and let the fans be on, just like wrestling.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was so weird. So many weird things happened during COVID.
As they were trying to all create some new experience.
Yeah. Right. I heard you. No, you probably do have to go to break. Are we?
Honestly, we don't need to go to break.
Okay.
We don't.
No, they're just promos of our other shows, and we can easily kill them, no problem. Like, it doesn't matter.
About wrestling. I used to be such a huge wrestling fan.
Did.
Everyone was a fan of wrestling at some point in their life.
I think one of my
100%.
favorites, Andre the Giant, obviously, but I remember I was working in Grand Prairie. It would have been like 1988, 87, and they had the referees, Davey Hebner and I think
Earl.
Yeah, and
Earl
they were
Hebner,
twins.
yes.
They were twins, and the bad twin had counted out Hulk Hogan, and I thought, this is unbelievable. And then of course the good twin comes out like has unwrapping that his hands had been taped together and he comes out and they're like, there's the twins. I thought, this is unbelievable what they've done. Anyways, that's one of the matches I remember.
Well, the Killer Bees would roll the tired guy out, and the other one would get in and get pinned and throw him off and be fresh.
Well,
so good.
Well, I mean, you guys are all way younger than me. Some of you more than that. But Stampede Wrestling was
great.
Was viewing that every Saturday at 3:00, I think it was. It would kind of be the appetizer as you got ready for Hockey Night in Canada. And Ed Whalen, God bless him, and Sir John Foley and Wakamatsu and Gama Singh and Mike Shaw and the Dynamite Kid. It was, and I remember, it's funny because this is one of those things where TV made it better than I remember going to the Kinsman Fieldhouse and watching it when I was like 14, and I was like, it wasn't as they edited it into an hour. It was a tight package. It was the best of the night. And then you went to see it in person. It was kind of like, this match ran 22 minutes and you didn't know. But anyways, that was some great viewing as well for wrestling.
It used to be all regional, right? Like they bring in the big names and it would all be different and you get a different experience. And now it's all like cable came in and boom, and it's one thing and everybody gets the same thing now. And it's just different.
That's why house shows are still sometimes nice when they bring the house show.
The doc chimes in via the text line 780-218-9999. Circling back to the wrestling discussion, I like how the doc tied everything in that we've spoke about. Goldberg played for the Sacramento Gold Miners. Thank you, the doc, for that little jaunt down memory lane.
Wow,
I love the Goldberg's entrance.
Yeah.
Like the whole walk with the security and his music, and it was this epic show, and then he comes through the whatever pyro that was.
Yeah,
he was here for a movie. I remember interviewing him at the old arena.
That's right.
Santa's Slayer, some weird
something like that.
horror movie like SLAY. Ran into him down at ran into him down. Just went to the Mongoli Grill one time and just ordered up. And see
there he was,
huge guy walking by, and he stands up, opens the door, and somebody's with him, and he just looks over and makes eye contact with the girl I was with, and I'm like, she has no idea who he is, right? And I'm just like,
Goldberg,
the server comes back over, I'm like, do you have any anybody else hidden back there? Like
Yeah,
this is
right.
I just turned into Insta fan.
But I remember when he, I remember him.
Yeah,
being
he's in
there.
for some weird movie. I had no idea why.
Yeah, I
he was
don't
here,
know
but
what the movie was, but he was, Goldberg, at an Oilers game.
Oh, that's
amazing.
unreal.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of, this reminded me one night we're in Calgary and WWE is at the Saddle Dome, and we had just gotten into Calgary. Myself, Jack, Bob, and the Oilers TV crew. We went just to the keg at our hotel, and a guy walks out of the restroom, goes by our table, and I look at Jack. I'm like, "That's Chris Jericho," and Jack's like, "Yeah, I thought he looked familiar." And then Stoff, like the antenna goes up, and he's like, "Did you know his dad was a hockey player at the University of Manitoba?
right, yeah.
And he knows so and so." And I'm like, "No, I had no idea, but of course you know." And then Stoff is starting to get, how he gets fidgety and he's excited about something
absolutely.
and he's tired of the conversation he's having with the usual guys that he hangs out with. So we knew the dinner was winding down, and Stoff is like kind of like peeking around the corner to where Jericho had walked. And he's like, "Here's my cash. I got to go, guys. I got work to do." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, BS, Bob. You don't have work to do." And instead of like walking to the exit, Stoff takes a hard right 90 degrees. And I just look at the guys and I look at Jack. I'm like, he's talking to Jericho right now. And Jack looks at us. He goes, "Let's crash this. Let's just get in there and totally ruin it." And so actually, Bob sees us and he goes, "Well, I see these gentlemen. They're my colleagues. They would like to talk to you. Great catching up with you." And of course, he was in some University of Manitoba conversation with Jericho, who was gracious enough to appease Bob. And so first thing Jack says, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Jack, huge fan. I grew up in Pennsylvania. That's my play-by-play color analyst." And we had to come and bust his chops because we could tell he got like the stars in his eyes. He's like, "Oh, no way." He started laughing. And then Jack's like, "You know what we need to do is we need to take a picture with you and put it on Twitter and make sure that we mentioned Bob walked away before we could take the photo."
Yeah.
So we did. And the next morning, Bob is like, "Oh, you guys, I didn't know you guys were going to take a picture with him." We're like, "We just did it in spite of you."
Yeah, right.
But Jericho was an awesome guy. Like he talked hockey for a while. He's like, "I'm a Jets guy, but I follow the Oilers. And, that's so cool. You guys are part of the broadcast crew." And it was awesome, but it was all in spite of Stoff.
The Ayatollah of rock and roll. I'm talking CIS hockey. Bob Stauffer.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and of course Stoff, knowing
he knows
Jericho's
so much.
dad was involved in hockey, not Chris Jericho, the monster superstar wrestler for 2 decades, wants to talk, youth sports hockey. So
His brain just absorbs so much information.
he's an encyclopedia.
Like the fact that
man.
he could just pull up all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's insane.
Yeah. Wrestling is, that's wonderful.
Santa's Sleigh with the
Golden.
SLAY Christmas slasher black comedy from
What-
05.
05.
05.
Wow. I'm guessing I know what role Goldberg would
was-
have played in that. He would have been maybe
He was Santa Claus.
Santa, yeah.
he was Santa.
He was Santa. Chris Kattan was in it.
Oh, no.
James Caan was in it uncredited.
Wow.
Yeah.
James Caan. I mean, that's a big time movie.
How have
Legend.
we missed
It was
this?
released on DVD.
There you go.
It didn't even go to.
Yeah. We actually, my
There you
wife,
go.
speaking of movies, Ray Liotta was in a movie here.
Cocaine Bear. He's the bad guy. Oh, here.
No,
here,
there was a different
film
one.
here.
There was,
I thought you were
yes,
talking
I
about
know,
this
I
one.
know
What
which
is
one you're
that
talking
movie,
about. It
by
was
the way?
filmed at West
Amazing.
End.
Really? I
Amazing.
gotta check that
My
out.
Yeah,
kids were my
New Fear.
wife. My wife would not take my kids out of school for anything, but she took them out of school for this, and I went there too, and we played the role of extras. In a
Shirts on or
movie.
off, Gene?
I had my shirt on at that. We were in the mall. No shoes, no socks, no service. Right? No shirt. What was that movie called?
I'm trying to
Ray
look it
Liotta.
up.
It was Edmonton. We got a glimpse of him, and I want to say Chris Kattan might have been in it too, or one of those. SNL,
I think both of them. Like, yeah, I think Chris Kattan was in
Yeah,
it.
and we walked by a store over and over and over again, and they had us herded into because there was a bunch of regular people like us. They had this huge, I want to call it a lunchroom, but it was an area where we were just sitting and waiting, and then our time came, and we just kept walking by this store.
Amazing.
As extras, and I never did see the movie.
Christmas in Wonderland?
Yeah,
Does that
that's
ring a
it.
bell?
Is that the
That's
Chevy
it.
Chase one?
No, it was Ray Liotta.
I
Who
think
else?
Leslie Nielsen was in it. I'm
Oh,
just trying
gosh.
to find it on
Patrick
Wikipedia.
Swayze. Wasn't Patrick Swayze in
I just remember Ray
for
was
a
in
big
it.
show here? near
But
the
we
end.
walked
Maybe.
around the mall and we were. I don't even know if we made the movie, but I never did
That's
watch. I
hilarious.
think it was straight to DVD too. If you find it, now these are two movies I want to watch. The one with Goldberg
Santa
and this
Sleigh,
one with
Christmas in
Leota.
Wonderland.
We'll let you Google away there.
I have a funny couple of texts that came in. Smitty the welder and Freezer Bag both said that Bob tells that story a lot different than you tell me. I'll tell you what, I told you the actual series of events that led up to that, because Bob gets those, he gets excited and he goes and he has no qualms bugging like people that are, stars or celebrities.
So 07 movie, Christmas in Wonderland, that one had Patrick Swayze with Chris Kattan, Carmen Electra, Tim Curry.
Amazing.
They were in that one. Tim Curry was in that one.
Could it have been? I wouldn't confuse a paisan for Patrick Swayze. I want to say it was Ray Liotta though. Google away, see if you Ray Liotta.
I'll have to keep looking.
Yeah. Because everything else, I didn't see Carmen Electra. I can guarantee you that. That would have been Electra. Fine.
Hey,
we got one.
There it is.
We got a Gino
Clip
Glenn.
it. Clip it.
Let's run it.
Capital C text
He was
in.
in Calgary for some movie
Must have been
in
that one.
05, which was a football comedy comeback season.
No, it was at the mall. And what was the one with Patrick Swayze?
Christmas in the Wonderland or something.
Does it say anything about the, I don't know if it has.
It was in the mall.
Oh, must have been it. Sorry, Ray. Bananima Ray.
Yeah.
He's up there. We lost him way
Yeah,
too soon.
he should have got
67.
on the Chantix earlier.
Yes,
That's a terrible joke.
it is.
I'm sorry. He was great. I loved him. Goodfellas. We were talking about it.
Oh,
Phenomenal,
man.
obviously.
There's some movies. I find that there's those mafia movies that you just watch all the time. You know what else I want to go see is The Equalizer 3, I think it is. I've watched the one with Denzel.
Yeah.
Anytime it's on, if I can watch it, I watch it. You know exactly what's happening and when it's happening, but he's a great actor.
Capital C Texan says, I used to run a restaurant in the city. The WWE had a show on a Sunday night at Rexall. We were 5 minutes to closing when Randy Orton and Bautista came for dinner. Everyone else was gone, so I served them and sat and talked wrestling for an hour. Amazing guys, so down to earth. I'll never forget that experience.
I wonder if that was Backlash pay-per-view.
Dave Bautista is in some great movies, man.
Yes.
Actually, he does seem like one of the better actors
amazing.
to ever come from
And
wrestling.
you never think, because he was one of those I need Heyman to talk for me types of guys, right? And then all of a sudden he's playing in Guardians of the Galaxy, and what was there's some weird one he was in.
He's been in a few, and more serious ones, like darker.
And then there was the zombie one where they're trying to break into the city.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, I never would have pegged this guy for like this.
Well, the best, not the best, but the tie-in of CFL, wrestling, and movies, The Rock, right? There's the guy. Now, that's a guy I would like to meet. I've never, ever, not that we haven't been in the same city, but that would be one of those moments, I think. If you could meet The Rock, that would be just surreal to meet a guy like that who seems like his heart's as big as his biceps. He just seems like he's a real cool dude.
He was in Reno 911 Miami. He there was a time where he would wind up in all these obscure movies and shows, and you're like, wow, The Rock is in that. And I just think he's the kind of fun-loving guy that just does what he's. Yeah, that seems good. What's the pay? Okay, I'll do it.
I'll do it. He was in the Tooth Fairy. He's a hockey player.
Yeah.
I remember watching that with my kids, and then San Andreas. He's been
Game Plan, where he's the quarterback and
Jumanji,
Strange Daughters.
Jumanji.
Yeah, lots of. It's amazing though. I mean, really, they are actors. So it's just moved from a ring to a set.
Some do it better than others.
Yes, that's true too.
That's a good point.
Anyways, wrestling was. I watch it a little bit now, but I used to love it back in the '80s into the early '90s, and the. I know Vince has had quite the run the last few years and getting kind of booted out of his own company, but the storylines are surreal, amazing.
Today it officially closed, actually. UFC, WWE deal is officially closed.
Oh, is that right? So UFC bought?
The company that owns UFC or whatever bought out WWE, and I believe it closed today, so now it's all one big happy family between UFC and WWE. It's a brand new
I never UFC's just too violent for me. I even though we watch fighting, and I've watched boxing and loved boxing growing up, but
me too.
I kind of watch it, and then I almost want to turn away when I feel like I've never ordered a pay-per-view, but you watch highlights. Conor McGregor. There's been so many great fighters, but I don't know when a guy's like this and he's just boom, boom, boom. Like I'm not sure I want to.
That was you on a Saturday night at Dancing Shoes.
Yeah, hey, Dancing Shoes. Yes,
laying a beat down.
Oh, I think I was the guy. I never got into one bar fight because I would have lost. I wasn't much of a fighter, but Dancing Shoes, yeah, which is not far from your studio, was located in the Mayfield Inn. Back in the 80s, it was Dancing Shoes, Denny Andrews American Bar, which isn't far from here, Goose Looney's, Barry T's, and I met Grant Fuhr at Dancing Shoes, and Grant had just finished up, if you could believe it, a round of golf.
Shocking.
Cannot. Was he draped completely in velvet, head to toe tracks?
He had the old golf visor. You know how Grant, when he golfs, wears that golf visor. What a friendly guy,
Yes.
I mean, you're talking. I would have been like 18, so you're talking 85 around there, 84, 85, and he was great. And I was saying to Tom that we met. They used to have all those dinner theaters, and for those of you who might remember WKRP in Cincinnati, Andy Travis, the program director, Gerry Sandy. Was there, and yeah, you just would meet. I remember we kept asking him. I'll kind of clean it up, but basically, did you ever date Lonnie Anderson?
She was.
Did you ever date Lonnie Anderson? And he would not answer.
That's a yes then.
Well, he
That's
would not.
a yes.
He would not answer because Lonnie. And then of course Bailey was on there. Bailey Quarters, I think, was her name. But anyways, back in the '80s, the athletes, the stars, they were just out and about.
Yeah.
They're just like they were as regular as you could get. Minus the fact that they were either, actors or actresses, athletes. I remember meeting Essa Tikkanen and Craig Simpson in the bathroom at Barry T's, of all places. And Essa was kind of speaking whatever he was speaking. And for some reason, I don't know if it was me or my buddy. This is before I knew Craig and worked with him.
We were talking about, together.
Yeah, we were talking about student loans that. We had less student loans than he did because he went to Michigan State as a 16-year-old, which I'm sure he had a full scholarship. But yeah, I don't know if I ever told Craig that story. But I'm not sure you would meet Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in the bathroom.
But I think that's what the CFL still. I'm sure you could probably still meet CFL guys. Like that's one thing that's relatable to that league is those players are still relatable
for sure any day. Yeah, and they're approachable and they.
I see Fred Bailey a lot at hockey games. Former kick returner.
It'd be so hard to be a celebrity these days, where everybody has basically a camcorder with them, and a printing press, the power to get it out there, right? You'd have to be so worried about every little thing.
Imagine being like Lionel Messi when you go to Miami, and like you get off the plane, and it just everywhere you go. It is just a circle of people around you. No matter where you're going, you just can't go to like a grocery store.
But he did go to a grocery store with his family, and I was like, "This is amazing."
But there are pictures, and they get sent out there. Right? Like you're always on.
Yeah, it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, too much sugar for my kids. You're getting shreddies.
Yeah,
whole wheat.
I remember when David Beckham came to, because he was kind of the first big star to come over, to the LA Galaxy, and I remember they did a junket. They actually brought media from Edmonton down to LA.
Because the Whitecaps
they're playing the Whitecaps.
It was Whitecaps versus Galaxy.
Yeah, and he was kind of the first. It's amazing what I was never. I always thought Beckham was more style than substance. I never thought he was the greatest player. But he was kind of one of those guys that branded himself before it was kind of like
he was a rock star soccer player.
And it was like the big marriage.
Yeah.
Him and Victoria Beckham, like just this power couple.
Which Spice is she?
Posh. Who was the best? Who was the best Spice Girl?
Posh.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
I was like that was my baby was always the one.
Sporty.
I have to go in.
Which one is Scary? The one on the show?
Scary.
Was there like
Mel B, Mel C?
Yeah, I'm not. I was
Ginger Spice married to Christian Horner.
Ginger Spice too, right? How many were there?
5.
Then 4. Good. Then kind of 5 because they came back. I think.
They have.
Who's keeping track?
Victoria has, I don't think, ever really come back.
Did she do some shows? I don't know, but she was my favorite. Big G, she was my favorite for sure.
Victoria,
Fair enough.
And what was I? I was gonna go somewhere. I had a great story, but I forgot it.
Well, why do you think?
Do you have a Victoria Spice Girl story? I want to hear this.
I hope it's about,
that's what I was gonna say.
Baby.
Victoria. Speaking of like stars and when we were in Pittsburgh, and there was a movie being filmed there, a Christmas film before the Oilers were going to play the Pens, and we stayed at the one hotel. I think you met Adam Levine.
I did. I went up. Yeah, he was in the bar, and we were leaving to sort of hijack your story. We were walking out to go to the rink at like 4:30 or 5, and he was in the bar with just one person, and I just kind of went over and stood there for a bit, and then I ended up getting a photo with him. Yeah.
That same trip, I went to the gym to get a little activation in, and I'm signing in on the sheet, and I see Olivia W., and then there's a Tom Gazzola right underneath
Olivia Wilde?
And it was Olivia Wilde, and Chris Westcott, our writer at the time for EdmontonOilers.com, was in there, and he's like, "Dude, she's on the treadmill." I'm like, "No way!" So I go on the exact the treadmill right beside her.
And you weren't a treadmill guy. You were more of a
No,
workout
I was
guy.
not. I was a
Like a
yeah,
lift guy.
just to keep this European trim physique going. But I look at her, she looks at me, she's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hi," and then I had nothing. I'm like, "Oh my god." But she is unbelievably beautiful. Like this, you see them on camera and in photos and stuff like that, and then you see them in person. You're like, are you from this planet? Because they're just on a whole different level. And then I met the guy that played Spock in the new Star Trek movies.
Fantastic, yeah.
Same hotel. I can't remember his name, and he was there with his crew. And then there was this lady who was talking about New Year's, and she's like, "Did you hear the dogs barking? Oh my goodness!" And everyone's like, "No," and he's like getting into this conversation with her as we're going up the elevator, and she goes, "Well, great meeting you. God bless you." And he's like, "God bless you." She's like, "I love you." and then we all look at each other. We're like, "That was interesting." Then my stop was next, and I look at them, and I was like, "I love you." And they all started like, "Ah," and then that was it. So anyway.
I remember seeing Florida State, I'm pretty sure it's Florida State Heisman Trophy winner in the national title game at the hotel in Anaheim. And I took a photo with him.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and I remember asking him, I said, so we took a photo. I go, "Would you mind doing the Heisman pose?" And he looked at me like, no. And so he just took a photo side by side. Yeah, when you travel, you end up just...
Especially when you're in hotels, because the Oilers aren't staying at just any hotel.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to be able to stay almost always with them, and you just bump because that's where the star rock band or the star movie star or whoever is also generally staying in those kinds of hotels as well. That's funny, Olivia Wilde, and then Kelly Buckber met
Pink.
Yeah, I remember he was working. Well, Bucky would work out like 9 times a day.
Madman. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's still in unbelievable shape.
Yeah.
And I remember, he met Pink.
And he
Justin Bieber, remember in Anaheim?
Oh, and he came onto our bus. It was weird.
Yeah,
you tell that story. I've told it a few times.
Yeah,
but...
we had arrived, and you get off the plane, and then usually there would be a team bus for the team, and we'd get like an airport shuttle at the time.
Yeah.
Like a little, and he had just arrived as well. You might have
to do the Ellen show.
Yes. And then he came
UK.
on our shuttle.
He saw the Oilers bags because the trainers were unloading and the players went on the player bus. We went on the media bus.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
They had just got beaten. I think we had to go like Anaheim, Phoenix, back to LA for the Kings game. And someone joked in the back, "We're all tired." And someone's like, "I bet that's Bieber." And sure enough, remember he was wearing like a hoodie and he had these huge bodyguards behind him. And he's like, obnoxiously big blue and orange shorts. And JJ Bear, who's in charge of Oilers PR at the time, was like, "That is Bieber.
Yeah.
He's walking over here.
Yeah.
Stop the bus, stop the bus." And the bus driver stops it. He gets on the bus. Do you remember what he said?
No, what did he say?
"I just want to wish the guys good luck."
And that would have been
2016.
Yeah, that's what
And there are no players on this bus?
No, well, it was the media bus.
Yeah,
so
so
JJ Bear goes, "Hey, I'm JJ, Oilers PR. Come on, I'll take you over there." And as soon as they physically made contact to shake hands, the customs agents grabbed Bieber and said, "You haven't cleared yet," and they pulled him back. It was wild. Yeah.
Well, the U.S. doesn't mess around.
No,
for
It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah,
you're
even
not
the
getting
Biebs.
through.
No.
Bieber gets no special
I
treatment.
just want to wish the guys good luck.
He would have been about
Early 20s.
late teens. I mean, he was like 14 when he got whatever he started. So, you end up bumping into who knows who, where, when.
Weird,
and sometimes
yeah.
why, but all good stories, right? All good stories.
Want to take a break?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
It's been a while, but this has been a great chat. Gerry Moddejonge, Postmedia, Gene Principe of Sportsnet. I'm Iwanyk. He's Tom Gazzola. We're back here on the EST Hangout. You're listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com or watching on YouTube.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week one. And then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly. And I mean, I try not to make these so definitive takes. Things can change very, very quickly, or maybe they have and we just haven't seen it yet.
The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey, Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch, Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast, located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
And we're back here on the EST Hangout. Gerry, Matt, Gene, Tommy with you. You can text us 780-218-9999.
Let's go into a text because I know Gene wants to tell a story. He talked about dancing shoes. He has a few other stories about his favorite places
Sounds like
to
I went
go
to a few bars in the
dancing. Jay texts in at 780-218-9999. That's our new inbox. Great number. Jay says, I had 2 big celebrity meets. I hung out with LL Cool J.
Oh.
Respect that very much. At a private party for a Much Music Snow Jam. And the other big one was meeting Gene at the Young Stars tournament in Penticton during the McDavid year. On that note, Gene, are you going to that tournament again this year? That's from Jay.
You know what? I was lucky enough to go to that tournament and be involved in both Sportsnet coverage and the streaming of the games for, well, I think the this year and last year were the only 2 times that I've not gone to Penticton for the Young Stars tournament. Wonderful. I have to say, back in that decade of darkness, sometimes that was not the most enjoyable tournament, but it was a great setting. No pressure, right? It's just these kids trying to make their way to main camp. And I love going to Penticton. We were supposed to go this summer, and then my daughter had some soccer, and then there was the fires.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to go. I've been to Penticton kind of on and off. Back in the 80s, we used to go. It was a big getaway for us Edmontonians to go there. I'd go with buddies, and my cousin Vince was watching Lieutenant Eric and Dusty, and he said, make sure you mention Night Moves, because that was the bar there for about 40 years. And I was telling you guys in commercial that they would just be along the beach. They'd have like this little dinghy. The guy would have a bullhorn. He just goes, Night Moves, come on down to Night Moves. And he would give the specials and the ladies' night and 2-for-1 drinks. And he would just go up and down the water of the beach. And I back in the 80s, Penticton was really like, I haven't been to Daytona Beach at spring break, but that's kind of had that aura, right? Mm-hmm. Young kids going there, have a good time, enjoy the beach, enjoy the nightlife. It's not quite like that now. There's still, I think it's a more mature family group. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's still fun to be had, because now I'm not 18 or 19 or 20, but Penticton is an absolute, in my mind, just a jewel of a place. And the Young Stars tournament has always been a blast.
Did you get that assignment in a couple of weeks, Gerry?
No, we don't travel Postmedia anymore, so I missed all the
That's
fun.
No more travel still. I remember that came in last year and was like, oh, maybe it's just temporary.
Right in time for the playoffs, eh? Yeah,
oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so. Will you write off of what you see and hear?
That's how I'm doing CFL this year. Yeah.
Are you doing CFL like that too?
Yeah. There's zero.
Okay,
zero
so
travel.
here's the problem.
Yeah.
I've been reading your stuff.
I
didn't know you weren't there.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
you'd have to know. The newspaper code is there's a place line. The very first word of the story will have Vancouver or wherever it would be.
And you have
so if
Edmonton?
the game's in Vancouver and I'm not, I don't get that
don't.
place line.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, well, of course, all the other important stuff, I'm not there to ask questions. I'm not there to see it in person.
Because I know this has been a discussion amongst ourselves when we're not on the air, but like COVID changed a lot of things. Yeah. Budgets have changed. Newspapers have evolved, and things are different now. But covering a game, being there for you to having to cover from the broadcast and not being there, how has it messed with your rhythm and how you go about covering it? Because you get into a groove, I find, when you are there. Yeah. How has it changed things for you, and maybe, I'm guessing, made it worse?
Well, no, you know what? Thank goodness the broadcasts do such a great job.
True.
I mean, and even CFL, in my mind, that's just junior ESPN, the product they put on. So it's not doable. It's just not what I would prefer. But I mean, hey. It's made the job a little bit more complicated, but it sure has made life a lot easier not having to be away.
Right.
I don't travel schedule and all that.
I don't have to plan when. Oh man, I gotta mow the grass. When am I gonna find time? And stuff like that. It's great being around kids all the time too. I don't have to miss out on the Halloweens and things like that. Yeah. But as far as the job goes, man, much more complicated, and you just kind of get what you get, and it's tough not being there in the scrums post game and not being able to contribute that way, and you just feel like not really doing it. So
because the Zoom calls or if they phone after, there's a detachment.
Even those were fine.
Yeah.
But now it's just kind of you get what's coming off the broadcast. I'm not going to ask the boys down at the Elks work so hard as it is. I'm not going to ask them to pack all their Zoom equipment along just so to make my life easier, right? So no, you gotta work ahead a lot, and you gotta just work smarter, I guess.
Well, technology is part of the. I wouldn't say the problem, but same thing, right? If you're covering an NHL team, I mean, listen, Oilers TV does a wonderful job. You're right. You're not there to ask a specific question. but there's so much availability to sound, and then you have the broadcasts that do what they do, and I honestly thought I thought you were there. I didn't check the location.
I did spin down to Calgary for the Labor Day Classic.
That was okay.
Well, just on my own dime, turned it into as much of a personal trip as anything else. But
now that's one thing I will say about sports. It amazes me that it's come to this. Like I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like in a town that lives, breathes sports, with such an unbelievable history, it boggles my mind that can't find a way to make it go. And I especially, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but that you can't book flights to Vancouver, drive to Calgary, short flight to Winnipeg, that can't be done on the most cheap way.
It can't be done regionally.
Yeah.
Just in a few spots.
Yeah, like I get flying to Nashville and flying to Dallas, and I get that. Like that can, it's even if you book in advance, it's not really cheap flights or not as cheap as you would like, but boy, the CFL, that is pure Canadiana, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and you see it this way too. When there's home games, there's no. Remember the walkthrough days 10 years ago, Gino? I mean, you'd be down there with your camera guy and everything, and just there'd be piles of us. And the visiting media comes in. It's like a little reunion, right?
Yeah.
And the coach is up there, and they bring a podium out for it. It's official, as the CFL gets.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
Love the sport, but love the league. But and it just felt like something's happening.
Something something
now
big's
it's
going on.
just us. Sometimes the Winnipeg Free Press will send a guy, and
so that's across kind of the league, the country, how they're handling traveling.
Well, we didn't have. Let's put it this way: we didn't have any of our Toronto writers follow the Leafs around in the hockey playoffs. So that it doesn't.
That's
get
a
any
big
bigger
deal.
than that.
Yeah.
That's a
game, set, and match.
So then we knew, I'm not going anywhere with the Elks next year.
Right.
I had the privilege of covering the CFL 08, 09. I was doing some stringer work for the Score, and I remember, and I talked about this last week on the Hangout, like the scrums were massive, and I remember Brian Hall climbing,
on his knees,
going down underneath everybody on his knees, and
do the Halsey,
just taking over.
Let
and
me
I was
ask
like,
you about your special team.
Where are you? Oh,
he's looking up at Danny Machocha. But then post game, or with the last 5 minutes of the game, I remember watching all of you guys go down and just getting into the business, or even before I even thought about it. I would watch. I'd be like, oh, there's so and so, CTV Global, The Sun, The Journal, National Post, CBC, Radio Canada. Pat Henry would be down there.
There'd be two papers.
Yeah, and I'd be like, I want to do that.
Yes. There was the three. I remember always when I first started, the Journal had the three to my left.
That's
and
right.
then you guys in the Sun were to the right, and Terry had a spot in the top spot.
Right. There was one time the Journal had like 3 kids coming up from just interning. It's just a Journal army trying to get out of there. It's just amazing.
So what happened, eh? What
happened?
Is there less
It's
interest?
money.
Here's the problem. As much as I love social media like everybody else, there's the big two. There's the the Google and the Meta, and they why go advertise with your local media station when you can just go straight there. And the problem is stories, all your links and radio hits, and you can find everything on social media, and that's where people are getting the news now, and there's sports news and everything.
Yeah.
And the advertisers are all going there, even though it links back to our sites and things like that. And so they're getting the content for free, and that's why the federal government was asked to go to bat for, and especially Postmedia was leading that charge too. Look, let's see if we can get some sort of sharing involved in these profits that our content is not free to put together, and then Meta and Google are like, all right, if that's the way the laws are going to be in Canada, then no more of that stuff on our sites. So they kind of took their ball and went home.
Yikes!
So I don't know what the answer is or anything, but I mean we're seeing it shrink, and you know what? Good on you guys. Just like Gino was saying earlier, good on you guys for finding an answer and keeping the ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why, honestly, this is like unbelievably impressive. And not to go too deep in, but the sports market had changed, and now it's kind of changed for the better thanks to what's going on here. And we're the winners, you know. I mean, as much as I'm in sports media, I'm a sports fan. I like to watch. I like to listen. And so we've got that avenue where for a few months we didn't have anything, right?
And you're right. The appetite's still there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in this market.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. But I guess the world continues to change and evolve.
Well, especially in Canada too. Like in the U.S., this they've had their hits, they've had their cuts, but it still hasn't gone to this level where local news stations on TV aren't covering sports. Here, we don't have like full-time sports reporters in any of the stations now.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
Unbelievable.
And I don't know where TSN and Sportsnet are going to get their future talent from. Because it used to be they would grab the guys from you're at Channel.
Channel.
And that's where we know
Channel.
Dushy coming from Global, that's where Rashad came from CTV.
Yeah. Who's going to J school anymore, right? Who's even getting the degrees to
want to go right or anything?
To get into the pipeline to.
And so what's going to happen moving forward? And that's even radio. Like I'm the music side. I used to have people do music shows. All overnight.
Right.
And that's where people would learn is they'd go overnight. They'd do midnight to 6 a.m.
Right.
They'd get to work their skills. And now one person's doing a show for 5 markets. And it's like we keep cutting away. And it's like, okay, so where are the future people going to come to continue this?
Yeah, and so then we get into, I was joking off the top. When I would apply for a job back in the 80s, it was you get the book and news director. And, so now look at you guys. You started this. I wouldn't even fathom the idea if in the 80s a station closed, the guys and gals would get not a regular job, but another job. And you guys said, well, no, we're not going to get another job. We're going to start a new job like our old job. And this is what we're doing. So there are definitely some sour points to it. But you guys are the sweet point to it in that you're able to do this and get it going where well, maybe not even. I'm talking 80s, 90s. You wouldn't have done this.
No,
not 2000s. No. Maybe in the last 5-10 years. Maybe you would have thought.
I would think you could. I'd go as far as maybe 15 for blogging, like the writing style things. You could start doing that. The audio, video, like this. I would say then the 5 years.
Yeah, right. Remember, what's a blogger? Who's a blogger?
The station shuts down, but the audience has not. So good on you guys for recognizing that. And you know what? God bless everybody out there who still wants to tune in to all the new different ways it's happening.
Yeah, I was just saying we were talking like with Dusty and Lieutenant Eric, right? Yeah. I'm still figuring out apps and all that kind of stuff, but Dusty tweets out a link and click and hey,
easy peasy.
EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Listen live at the top, watch live right below.
You had a BlackBerry up until like 18 months ago.
They actually pulled it away from me.
Good.
I was the last guy in the company, and they said you can't. They made it so I couldn't actually get into my own emails. So many levels of security there, and I'm like, can I get a BlackBerry? They're like, no, you don't understand. You can't use that anymore.
Right.
So I had to get a Samsung.
You want to know something? I fought for my BlackBerry for a long time. I loved
the BlackBerry.
I love my Samsung though. I will take my Samsung any day.
You know, one thing I really like about the Samsung for me, and like he calls me TM Gene.
You are TM Gene. You're like this everywhere.
Yeah, I love shooting video because. We used to have cameras on the road, and I don't really have a camera on the road other than, like, we have the broadcast, but lots of stuff happens near buses, near planes, at morning skates, and I just start recording, and I can easily make it a link, send it to the truck, and that's where I like it.
It's got a great camera.
That's where I like it. Over the years, I didn't even realize how many things I was missing because we didn't have that capability.
I remember you when I was at Oilers TV, you'd be like, "Hey, can we get this?" And for you, anything, obviously. But
you were very kind.
If it was Schauger and TSN, I didn't have that allegiance at that time. I'd be like, sorry guys. Yeah. But Parker is one of the best camera guys I've ever worked with. But yeah, it is interesting how it's changed even in the last decade.
I guess I got to name drop my cameraman now that you mentioned.
Do it.
Parker, Corey Blashill, the bureau chief. Everybody knows him. Most people love him. Yeah, he even says, he goes, like, you don't need to shoot, like, I'm here. And he's right. Like, we're in Edmonton. I have a camera, right? But you're on the road. And I remember one of the first things I shot, and I didn't know how to zoom in. That's how long ago it was. It was Connor's rookie year, and a guy in Philly, you know how you drive kind of down the ramp? Kind of like Edmonton. You drive down the ramp, and then there's higher level. And he had a Connor jersey, and he had it on like a little fish hook. And he ran it down to Connor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. And I recorded it on this like mega wide shot because I didn't know how to zoom in. And but I had the video of this guy dropping this jersey down to Connor, you know. So that's the part of technology I do like. You know, it allows you to do more, but it also allows you to do stuff that you used to have a second person with you to do, which you no longer sometimes need. Sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough.
We got a text in from Big Greek P. And this is kind of a culmination of everything we've talked about today. And I'll read the tweet out that he sent, and then you guys can give your thoughts on this. A tweet was put out, said, "This is incredible. A Wisconsin bar offered free drinks if the Jets lost. After Rogers went down, they started running up their tabs. The news was live when the Jets won in overtime, and everyone realized they had to pay." So this is like a culmination of everything that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And then bringing it into what we witnessed last night on Monday Night Football. Just thoughts on that and what we saw last night.
Yeah, last night was unbelievable. Now, Rogers, I think he did tear his Achilles. Is that right?
Sounds like it,
Season.
Good career.
Yeah, right. He's 30.
He's been thinking about that for
39?
a while too. Do you want to do the
Yeah.
rehab for the Achilles to come back? Although Dusty said on the Nielsen show, like, he's the type of guy that, you know, Rogers, is he not the type of guy that maybe sits there and goes, I'm not letting my career end this way?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think Dusty's right. He's going to at least come back. What he comes back as, you know, to be determined. But at Achilles, well,
At that age, it changes you. Kobe was not the same after his Achilles when he got it in his 30s.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. And what a way to end on a punt return.
Cost me my fantasy football game. I was in the lead. Well, it's like
Sacramento.
I was in no this no that's my CFL league, not the NFL one.
We're crossing the streams here, Gerry.
The NFL one, I had the lead, and all I needed to do was like give up they punt.
Yeah.
He had Stephon Diggs, and I had the Bills defense, and I was up by 3 or whatever
You
it
were in
was
good shape.
on that last play.
Diggs got
I
the
just needed
ball
a field goal.
every play.
And he returns for a touchdown
Yeah.
and dropped the Bills defense down enough points for me to lose. So I lost on that one. But it was such an exciting moment. I didn't care.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you don't see a lot of
Walk-off
those.
punts or kick returns, those are amazing.
Yeah, that was a great way to
Jackson,
finish.
baby.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you quickly.
Yeah.
So I have two worlds colliding today. Italy's taking on Ukraine
I know.
in the Euros.
Oh, you definitely
qualifying.
have two.
Yeah, I've got two allegiance.
I'm wearing my Juventus.
You're
I was
singing
gonna
both
wear my Italy
anthems.
jersey.
Oh yeah.
Are you worried Italy's not going to
Oh
qualify
my gosh,
again?
here we go again with that kryptonite, North Macedonia there. Like, how is
I'm
it
getting
that-
a little concerned.
Well, for sure. How can you not? I mean, they changed the manager, right?
Well, Mancini left. He deserted them.
Well, yeah, he went to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Who isn't going to Saudi Arabia now in soccer, it seems like,
Yeah.
except for Messi. I'm definitely concerned, right? Because this is a cycle. You don't miss the World Cup for 60 years. You miss it in 18. Then you come back and win the Euro.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then you miss the World Cup again.
Yeah.
Now you're back. So for sure, it's not, what do they say? It's not your no-nos azzurri, right? It's not like you were locked in.
There's not a lot of
in.
stars.
They're going to win by a goal. They're going to put 11 people in the penalty area, and they're going to defend until their 90-plus minutes are done. For sure, I'm concerned.
The old Nono is sitting at the bar at Cafe Amore, drinking the little birras in the small glasses like mine used to, are going nuts right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
freaking
And
out.
so today is going to be. So who do you?
Truthfully, because they met in 06 at the World Cup.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
cheered for.
And Italy
I was
won.
happy either way, but I was like, I'm kind of a little more happy Italy won because it was like, if somebody was going to win, I felt it was going to be Italy.
Yeah.
I think Ukraine. Like, I'm okay Ukraine going to the playoff
Yeah.
and trying to get into the playoff.
Right.
I don't want Italy. We've had two bad times in the
Yeah, it's
playoffs
been
now,
a-
and I just want them to qualify. So
Yeah,
today, I really need Italy to win.
12:45 actually. I'm going to.
Yeah.
Big G, who do you have in this game?
No, you know what? This is good. I'm just like glue listening to this conversation because my guy at work, Derek Van Dies.
Oh, yeah,
I
DVD.
miss him.
Yeah.
Like he was my connection to the entire the entire football world. So,
using football too. Well done.
Yeah. So I just gotta take a back seat here and just absorb it all in, fellas, because I have not been keeping up.
Next summer's going to be Great. You got the Euros in the morning, afternoon, and then you got Copa America at night, all at the same time. Oh.
And we're actually planning a trip because they're in Germany, the Euros.
Yes.
And we're planning a trip to go to Germany. My wife Karen is German and has quite a bit of family in Germany, so that's what we'd like to do is go there, catch some Euro matches. Now we're gonna have to see, front on the cruise that Italy is in there, and then try and
better not miss.
Try and watch some matches, and then go down to Italy, go down to Tropea and down to Sicilia there, and enjoy the beaches. So some soccer and some sand.
That's what
Shirts
Ivan
off
and
the
Reno are
whole
doing right
time.
now.
Some sand. Yeah.
Shirts off the whole time.
Oh yeah. I won't even pack a shirt.
There's no sleeves that entire trip. No sleeves.
It was funny for the marathon. I said to my wife, I said, "Do you think I could take my shirt off?" She goes, "You can't take your shirt off at a marathon.
You do whatever you want,
Well,
Gene.
I didn't know. And then at 7 a.m., there's a guy with his shirt off. I'm like, "You can take your
Of
shirt
course
off."
you can.
Then boom, it came off.
Oh yeah.
You just write that bib number on your chest.
I put it on the front of my shorts, and away we went. Anyway.
That's it. That's going to wrap up today's edition of the Hangout. Jerry, Gene,
Coming back,
appreciate the
Big Gene,
time.
Gonna do this again?
Yeah,
Take
yeah,
it back
absolutely.
anytime.
Yeah, this is great. A lot of
Paisan.
fun, and congratulations,
Thank you.
Aguri, to what you guys are have started and what you're accomplishing.
We had to get you in before the Oilers found out about it and Kibosh did. So hopefully they let you do this again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll wear a
Well, let's
mask.
not throw that out there.
Well,
Let's
they're
not put that in
thinking
the
it.
universe.
I worked for them for 8 years. I know how they operate. God bless them.
Tomorrow on the Hangout, we got Jay Milne. Thursday, Walking Gage and Lucas Holt of Whale and the Wolf. New album dropping on Wednesday, and they got a show on Friday.
I got my ticket.
And then Friday, Derek Van Diest. Speaking of him, he'll be by with Mark Majot. Coming up next on Edmonton Sports Talk, it is the Lock Shop with Huss and Dusty. And then at noon, it is two guys and a goalie as Dusty, Gager, and Cass. They will be on right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thanks for tuning in to the Hangout. Lock Shop is up next.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week one, and then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly, and I try not to make these so definitive takes.